Okay, let's get Ray up here. Ray's going to show us his glued up platter. Come on up, Ray. Hang on.
Can y'all hear me?
Hang on, let's get that on.
Oh.
Okay, now talk. It's on.
Okay. Is that better?
Yep, hang on.
All right. If it gets to a point where you can't hear me, shout, raise your hand or something. That was a test. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I had to talk about cutoffs. I don't have access to a lot of large, interesting pieces or burls and things like that. So I end up with a lot of glue. And let's see, why don't you put that first picture up there?
Okay, hang on.
And I still frequent Tony's. Oh, good. Yeah, where we used to meet at the John Anthony Millworks, I still try to stop by there. He has wonderful scrap bin. These are a bunch of cutoffs from his scrap bin, which is a great find. But they're maple. They're not all interesting, but I try to do something with them because it's good wood. Okay, next slide. Is that the next slide? Go one more.
That's what came up.
Go another one. And the next one.
Hang on, let's, you want the glue?
Yeah.
We'll do it this way.
So I'm a believer in tight bond. We had a speaker at Kentwood High School a few years ago, talking about the merits of tight bond. One thing he said is, "My glue is stronger than your wood," and I believe it. I made a couple spatulas, and these are glue-ups from Tony's scrap bin. This has got the ultimate glue, and it's probably been through the dishwasher many times. We had it for like 5 years. It's probably at least once a month.
Put it down there.
So, oh, sorry. This is the unused one. This one has survived the dishwasher many times, and it's oak with a little veneer in the center, but it's glued. Starting to show its wear.
Do you think the fact that plywood actually helps the strength of it?
The question is, do you think plywood helps? The question was,
Well, yeah,
being plywood, did it help the strength of it?
plywood usually has the grains in alternate direction.
Sure.
This doesn't.
But
Yeah, this does not.
right.
Yeah.
Do you think that helped it last longer, or
Could be. Anyway, I'll pass these around. Yeah. So anyway, I like the ultimate glue. That picture showed three new bottles that I bought by mistake. Maybe I ought to trade them in. Okay, next slide. Okay, I'm also indebted to Ken Marvin, who brought some banding for sale once. And I thought, that's interesting stuff. So I think I paid $5 for a roll of it. And I have since gotten some other stuff, some clear stuff, some dark stuff. So what with wood and glue and banding, what can you do with that? Well, I hope to show you. Also, as a disclaimer, I'm really indebted to members of this club for what I've learned, so I really appreciate that. On the flip side, I have some bad habits, so I guess you'd have to take the blame for that as well. So next slide. So here's an example of what
Yeah, but we're,
yeah, this piece is really 3 pieces of walnut, and partly to hide where the seam was, one of the glue joints is banding, so you don't even notice that it's 2 pieces. And I tried also to get the follow the grain, not go cross grain with the cuts. So basically, I'd take the block of wood, cut it, glue it, go to sleep, wake up the next day, do the same thing, and turns out pretty well.
Really pretty cool. Do you do one seam at a time or one cut at a time?
I do 1 cut at a time. I've tried more than one, and then I have a little problem. It slides around. So if you have multiple projects at the same time, you just do them all together. The limitation is the number of clamps you have. Yeah.
What kind of saw blade are you using? I assume bandsaw.
the question
Yeah.
is, what kind of saw blade are you using
Okay.
on your bandsaw?
Yes, I use it on the bandsaw with a real thick blade. It doesn't have a lot of teeth. And the first couple cuts I made, I had like a 1/4-inch blade with a lot of teeth. But the problem is that blade wobbles, and then the cut isn't like how I want it. So I took that expensive blade out and put one in that I got from Home Depot. It's rough, but that works. And I also put a little extra tension on
They've all seen it.
the bandsaw, so the blade wouldn't get any wobbles.
Do you do anything with the cuts after you cut them? Do you sand it at all or no?
I sand it very lightly, just hand sanding.
Question is, what is the wood
that-
between the cuts?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's light colored, that's all I know. I suspect it's maple. Ken Marvin, maybe he knows. Ken's not here. Yeah.
No, they're from steel case.
Yeah,
We have a whole boatload of those things that are right now.
yeah. I appreciate, thank you, Steelcase. Okay. Yeah, we can pass this around. You can do the next slide. So as I said, I try to follow the grain. Which of course doesn't always work. The grain doesn't always follow how I want the cuts to be made. I made myself a couple jigs. This is from a paint can. And I found out that you can make some lines on a piece of wood, quick cut it, glue it up, put it on the lathe, and it doesn't look so good. It's a way to turn a glue up into a screw up. So I found I have to be more careful about how I lay things out. So for this one, I've got different diameter arcs, and then I try to space them evenly. But nothing fancy as far as tools. Well, that piece is on the table, the raffle table. Sometimes I take a piece of wood and well, some people call it a blemish, but it's really something of interest. And then I try to use the banding almost like grain to kind of highlight what's there. Of course, going with the grain is important. Someone will get that piece. Maybe they'll bring it next month. For tiny radiuses, what I do is cut the piece to length, and then I soak it in hot water, and sometimes I put it in a clamp. All right. Clamp it overnight, let it dry out, then glue it. Yeah.
And then you run it through a cleaner when you're done?
No, I run it over a sander just to take the bumps off so I can put something for a tenon. On these thinner boards, I hate to use this stock for a tenon on one side or the other, so I usually glue something on. I think I learned this at the club too, that a square tenon works very nice in a chuck. It won't slip. So this is a bowl that was done with one of these. I think I drew the lines with a jig like this. And some people who have looked at the bowl say, wow, how did you learn to do inlay? I say, well, it's not inlay. You can tell it's not inlay. It's on both sides. So this obviously is not going with the grain. Now this piece I wasn't real happy with because I didn't get the spacing right. Okay. So what to do with all that wood? I grabbed a piece and you can see the size. It's nice clear maple. What sort of bowl I can make out of this? You can, the next piece. After I cut it, I think the stresses kind of relaxed and showed up something that was a problem. But I hate to throw a chunk like that away. So, you do the next one. So that little piece on top I've glued, and I've made several of these ahead of time. Different color woods glued together. And I glue that on top of this over the part that I'm going to get rid of. You can take the next slide. And then run it through the bandsaw. You can do the next one. So this is what it looks like. I come up with 4 pieces. And I haven't used CA glue again for this because I've had trouble with it breaking off at the wrong time. I just use wood glue. So after it's cut, it looks like this. You can do the next slide. So my banding is only 1.5 inches wide, I think. My piece of wood is a little bit wider than that. So how to glue that on? I used a piece of tape and I glue one side of it and the block of wood, and then I put something over so the glue doesn't transfer because I don't want to glue my tape. So then that piece of wood I put in, I have to glue that separately. That's another overnight. So then I mark on the piece of wood with that dark red line where the split is, and the dotted line is what I want to see after I glue those two pieces together. So this is the trick to cut both pieces at once. Cut off something the same thickness to have a foot on one side, and then I run that through the bandsaw again. And here's where it really helps to have a blade on the bandsaw that doesn't wobble. So I go slowly, so I don't stress the blade. So that's what it looks like after I cut it. You can do the next one. There's the piece I cut out. That's the piece that has the split in it. I think there was a split on both ends. I'm sure it burns well. So now it looks like this. Do the next one. Is that the next one? Oh, could be. But then I have to go through a process where I put the darker wood on the other side as well and glue it together. So anyway, let's see, I think the bowl that is shown is this one here. Actually, this is a bigger bowl than the one shown in the. But same idea. You'd pass that around. It'll hold a lot of salad. So this is a piece of oak, and the little dots are made with a piece of, I think it's a walnut dowel.
So those are round holes? You drill those holes?
I drill the holes, yeah. And in fact, that hasn't always worked because if I drill an 1/8-inch hole, put an 1/8-inch dowel with glue in it, somehow the glue gets lost. So I turn the piece and, well, where did that dowel go? So I sand the dowel and even make a couple flat edges so that get a little glue that actually works. Yeah, you can buy the walnut dowels online. You can also get them at a place called, got it down here somewhere, Woodcraft. Yeah. No. I think I have 36 clamps. It's not enough. and of course the clamps that you have to squeeze, pinch clamps. I can use a few of them, but the way I use those is to use my better clamps with the screw on it actually tighten, and then I use the pinch clamps to hold it, so I can use that better clamp somewhere else. These clamps don't work so well anymore. Here's an example of a bowl early on that I did. And what I don't like about it is that it seems to trail off and it's still thick. And visually, it doesn't look quite as good as if it's just a thin line up the wall. This is maple and sapele. And of course, the steel case banding. So, that large bowl that's being passed around, that walnut one, I forgot to mention, I made myself a bunch of arcs with different diameters, and that's been helpful to actually write on the piece of wood to begin with. Oh yeah, I got them labeled. 12-inch, 21, 41, different arcs. Again, this is just cardboard. Make your own tools. Yeah. And here's one more example. I thought this would work, but I think I did not have enough glue, or the clamps weren't tight enough. So I have a space here and a space there and a space here. I could fix this, but if they're on the outside, it's beyond repair. But again, I think it'll burn well. It's nice.
Doug's coffee might work in there.
Yeah, it would, but I wouldn't want that on the edge. So.
Got a question.
Okay.
Going back 60 seconds to those hardwood arcs that you showed. Do you just draw the arc on the wood and then freehand it on the bandsaw?
Yes, yeah.
The question is, do you just freehand that on the bandsaw after you draw it on the wood? And the
Right.
answer was yes.
Yeah. So this is another example of using banding. I really like the black banding because it's like doing line drawing. I made this for Easter. The wood, of course, is a piece of a lamb beam. All right. So, some people will get a few blanks. I hope they work. I got one that I'll put on the lathe here. I started this one. I think this is just a piece of poplar. It's got some walnut in it. So we'll see how this works. I glue them, yeah, with wood glue. And wait overnight. And wait overnight.
He's talking about the block for the tenon.
Does it dry if you're not sleeping? Put any paper into it?
No, I have not used paper. Yeah, that's pretty good. I knock it off. I could turn it off, but the risk of turning it off is that since it's bumpy, it jars, take it loose, and so I just knock it off.
But it doesn't take part of your piece with it.
It hasn't so far, but if it does, it's the inside of the bowl. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. Okay. Can't forget this. I finally cleaned my my shield, and someone had suggested using Rain-X. That works pretty good. Not that I get much water on it, but seems to help keep it clear. So I have a variety of tools, but still my favorite is the one that I've started with, which is just a bowl gouge with the fingernail edge. Sorry. I'll call my son later. So my wife and I live in the woods, and we have a couple trails through the woods. So even my worst pieces give a lot of shavings, and we can use that on the trails. It works very well. Get a little bit more of a foot on there. Okay, you can start to see the pattern on there. They can see. Now this is how I get them off. Well, see how easy that is? There we go. Now this does have a void in it, but not too big of a one. Well, a little bit more. There, it's past the worst of the void. I'm afraid I'm going to get a little chatter on this. Yes, quite a bit of chatter here. Thought if I get a piece of oak or something hard, you'll be here till 1 o'clock watching me finish this thing. So anyway, don't look at the chatter part, but the could at least see the design. We won't bother taking that off. You can pass that around. Yeah.
You think the chatter is because it's going from hardwood to softwood back and forth or not?
Well, that
The question was, do you think it's chattering because it's going from hardwood to softwood?
I've sometimes solved the chatter problem by changing the speed, but I think if it's real thin on the outside, and especially with wood like poplar, it moves around too much. I don't have that much of a problem with like maple or something. But yeah, when you get a bowl and you can't turn it anymore and you have to sand out the chatter, that's not nice.
You have to sand after you make the cut with a bandsaw, you have to sand that edge at all, or?
The question is, do you have to sand the edge after you make the cut with the bandsaw?
I just do light sanding with a hand sander. I don't try to get it smooth. So there's kind of a, if you're trying to put two pieces together without something in between, you don't want to see that glue line. But basically, I'm accentuating the glue line by putting something in there. So if I have glue, if you can see the glue, it kind of looks like part of the intentional stuff.
Did you ever glue or dyed the glue, put in coloring in the glue?
The question is, have you ever tried
No.
to color the glue?
No, I have not.
Can you color glue? Can you dye it?
I suppose you can.
Okay.
Something to try. Okay, let's see, the next slide.
Oh,
Yeah, so continuing on with other chunks of wood. And I saw this demonstrated on YouTube for a bowl with lines that kind of dance around each other. So here again is putting two chunks together, and I want to accentuate the joint. So this is a piece of veneer. I think it's from that same place, Woodcraft. And you can see the marks on there. I try to mark the wood because otherwise, once I get glue on it, I can't remember. Let's see, does it go this way or this way? And I want, obviously, the grain to line up. We can do the next slide. So I try to be efficient, do two things at once. And I happen to be making some bread. And I think I might have had a little glue on my hands when I'm making the bread. But the bread seemed to taste okay. Otherwise, I don't normally taste the glue. And of course, back in the shop, I probably had flour on my hand when I was messing with the glue. But that's probably okay too, because of course, flour has gluten. So it works. You can do the next slide. So this is something I saw on YouTube. after the piece is glued together, I used one of the arcs, and initially I drew the black lines, and I decided I didn't like those, so I put the red ones on, and I wanted to cut on the red. So then I run it through the saw again, and you can do the next slide. You have to have faith, because after you cut it, it doesn't look like it's going to turn out right. So anyway, this is after the first cut, and then I put another full sheet of veneer on that and cut it a second time, and it looks like this. And then yet another sheet of veneer, and when you turn it, it looks like this. And this is an example of, unfortunately, a glue up turned screw up, because I forgot to rotate it 90 degrees and I cut on the wrong spot. So these don't dance against each other. It still kind of looks sort of okay. It's not quite what I intended. These lines are thick because that's how thick the banding is. Yeah. This is a better example. And this is using veneer from Woodcraft. It's quite thinner, so it has fine lines. This is how I intend it to be. They kind of dance around each other. So that's it. It's pretty easy. There's some more things that I've tried to do. Haven't been entirely successful. Before I go on, here's another one. And before you put finish on, you should use sanding sealer, or you get this stuff. I can probably fix that. Get past that. So what else can you do with cut and glue? I'm not going to demonstrate this today, but this was my attempt at trying to get a floral design. This took a lot of cutting and gluing, and it's difficult to get the joints just perfect. And also what I don't like about it is I can't get away from these lines as a result of the cuts. This is maple, and I think it's not zebra wood, but it's a wood that has a strong grain, and you just cut it to make it look like the leaf. So then, you can pass that around if you want. So here's another example. I tried to get the leaf to go off the edge so you wouldn't see that extra little line there. And I hunted long and hard for this piece, but couldn't find it. It was almost done, and I lost it. But here again, it's just using banding of different color. This has got a black central spine, and then the others are darker brown. And here's the last piece. This has some berries on it. Well, that's it. That's it.
Any more questions? All right, thanks a lot, Ray.